Israel took over China in the communist slaughter, then what do you think their people are doing owning all the stores around here that are buying all that faulty trash from their brothers who own the fucking store, the companies making the faulty trash in China? Pretty sure they don't sell themselves faulty trash over there in China. So this is right in line with who these people are and what they've done for centuries. They would go kill a people, rape them, create children from them, or shapeshift to their form, however they end up doing that teleporting stuff, and then act like they're those people and sell trash from those areas of the world to other people and other lands that they've genocided and replaced. Or USA isn't so much any people they've genocided and replaced. Like on average, when you use that term, what they've done is they've killed almost everyone and they've kept people alive to enslave them. So actually, USA is one of the few places where it's very evident they did actually kill everyone. And from what I gather, it's because they like refuse to worship them, and most people get screwed over pretty badly for that. Like China did that a long time ago. For some reason, they backed off, probably because they weren't living in tents, and it was harder to wholesale take every single last one of them out. They probably lost numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to invent hospitals to start healing their fucking weapons of war, because hospitals were created with good intent. You can tell because that's the reason they do pedophile rituals and sell drugs, is because it must have been created with some really good intent. It got out of hand, right? So it's got their fucking snake gang. They even put their snake sign on it, yet alone their gang symbols and shit. They make sure they include the snake. They don't even put the snake on everything. And the snake is who they are. That's why they have 10,000 different religions, and that's why they are every people in every land they're in, and they aren't who they actually are, because Snaky Boy keeps shedding its skin there. Snaky Boy doesn't want to get caught. Snaky Boy doesn't want no one to know who it is. Snaky Boy. Fucking. Like how they're trying to change the definition of snake to something good and positive. Yeah, they're cute as hell, and it's cool to eat rats, I'll tell you that part. But, yeah, in honesty, rats, I don't think act like they're people. They just look like them. They act like snakes. They look like rats, right? So, yeah, they act like what people consider snake and use the term snake for and shit. Fucking, they act like hyenas. I think that's a better definition, right? Fucking, since they act like some weird shit that doesn't exist on Earth, to be honest. It's like, I don't think there's any animal out there who, like, targets little children, to rape little children of other animals and shit. It doesn't exist. Mosquitoes don't do that. Fucking. But anyway, so we can pretty much assume, we're looking at every other nation on the planet, and it's like, oh, they killed those people and replaced them because they have their racial, they got their KKK symbol on the fucking flags of some nations. On most nations, shit. I think most nations just openly support one of their racial religions. And so China wouldn't allow them to bring that in. And so what they did was they invented a political-led movement, kind of like atheism. If you don't want to worship them as gods, don't worry, you can worship them as lords instead. Oh, they're geniuses. They're not gods, they're geniuses. So great. So, obviously, we have one of their operatives named Mao Zedong, who they're always bashing. And this is always a clue that they're actually in league with them, is the fact that when they're talking shit about someone, they can't keep the fucking name out their mouth and stuff. They gotta attack it like Hitlerbergstein. He forgot to wear his blonde wig apparently, so he still looks like one of them. And same with Goebbels. And they forgot to fucking erase from history that he signed an agreement to fucking help build Israel and ship them back to Israel and stuff. Take them back to their mansion. Get them out of those ghettos in Germany and take them back to their mansions with Jeffrey Epstein, Rothschild, those poor people of the world. But so we have their group. Obviously, they had just killed all the fucking Russians, right? They actually called that the Bolshevik slaughter. We don't know what goes on in China because the language is so different. Because their people are going around fucking destroying people's languages that they brag about and fucking in their books and shit. Right. Although that's actually been useful to me because it allows me to go to other countries and then be like, oh yeah, they're following me, because isn't that weird? And we got English people just showing up out of nowhere to speak to me, and I don't think that's how this nation works. Fucking, obviously. Fucking, so that was pretty good for me. Plus I went there to silence. I went there for that. Like largely for that purpose, to, it's like if I go to hunt tigers, I'd go to like Bengal, right? I'd go to like fucking Serbia. I wouldn't go to fucking, it's really, I can't think of a parallel, but it's close enough, right? I don't go to my fucking backyard because there's not going to be any tiger, anything orange with stripes there. I'm not sure what the fuck, how to fucking label that properly. Fucking, it's just what it is. I went to another nation partially because I knew that when people start talking to me, that's not people from that nation, and that's people following me and shit. Because they don't speak like I do in this nation, and I don't speak like they do, so I'm not going to be able to hear the chit-chat from the bots and shit either, the fucking background noise they produce. So we have their people taking over China in a mass slaughter right after they just took over fucking Russia in a mass slaughter. Where are the dates on that? Let me look that up fucking real fast here. And, I mean, you can see a lot of the links there, like in history, China doesn't want them there, and this and that. And, like, I think China's probably was on to them in more ways than one. One of the things they've done is they've taken their martial arts and made themselves the star of their martial arts. That's who Bruce Lee is. That's why he's famous, because it's their people. And that's like, it's weird. My fucking one friend used to make fun of Bruce Lee all the time and shit. And man, it's like, it's true. It's like his styles are. There's really no proof he was anything except for a propaganda piece and stuff. But he's just famous because he's in a lot of movies and shit. Might have trained a little bit hard, but probably not near as hard as people you don't know about and shit. And he's obviously, if you look at the TV, you have to be a certain people. If you look at the internet, you look at Facebook, you look at YouTube, you have to be a certain people to be allowed in their media. You look at the government, you have to be a certain people, a certain bloodline in order to become president. That's probably why do they own every store? Do you have to be a certain fucking person to own anything at all? Probably, I'd say this is a pattern here where they have to own everything. I mean, literally, like, their plan for world domination says kill everybody who's not them, and then they create a book for everyone who's not them to worship them, to force them to worship them. And so, yeah, I would say pretty obvious. They go around every nation planning their flag, changing their flag to their symbols, and spray painting or building buildings Spray paint just ain't permanent enough sometimes, but they build the buildings with their symbols on them on every fucking street corner, at the very least. There's probably one building on about every street corner that possesses one of those symbols, from the pharmacies to the hospitals to the worship temples themselves. There's gonna be one out there somewhere. And usually a lot of corners have four. Each intersection has four of them, right? Each intersection. So you got China, who they have their symbol on their flag now, just like the Europeans have the crosses on their flag. They have the sickle and the hammer on their flag. That's China, right? Fucking So yeah, bro, that's weird, isn't that weird? Like, even Asian people worship Abrahamics. That's a great thing, isn't it? No, that's not the sickle and the flag on there. Which nation has the sickle and the flag on it? Isn't there one that has it? No, my bad. That's the Bolshevik flag. That's why I don't see it no more. But you see how much they changed that flag when they went over to China with their ideology, right? And it's like the same flag. They just took away this little small symbol and put 3 stars on it, same colors and everything. And then the results of what they do with it is they pit those people against each other too. You'll notice that with, and it's weird, they create 2,000 different religions and then they're all killing each other, right? They have those people all kill each other. Because the goal isn't to unify them under them, it's to divide them under them. So, and you gotta kill off people on occasion and stuff who breed too much while you're busy floating on your yachts and having sex with men instead of females. It probably, over 6,000 years, that probably like makes it hard to maintain slave status of people. Plus, for some reason, they seem to be keeping certain humans alive, like they're harvesting their energy, which like, we don't know how the teleportation and shape-shifting and the rest of their games they play work, but we do understand at this point they're not humans. That's an obvious fucking thing, because I don't fucking teleport across the map. So, they're not humans, so what else comes with not being a human? What other superpowers we got there and shit? So, anyways, so then they would take over, they would have Mao take over and slaughter everyone in his nation, and then on top of that slaughter, it followed with like another mass killing. So, like, they look like, pretty much they probably weren't going to end that stuff. But what happens is you kind of look at their people and you see that now some other people seem to own some stuff in there, like Bruce Lee and the owner of TikTok. His name is Andrew Chu. Okay, and the name Andrew is pretty obvious, and the name Chu is way obvious. And the face, well, the face is not very Chinese. Just like Mao, but Bruce Lee, Andrew Chu looks a lot like Bruce Lee. Ooh, that's weird. It's almost like it's a person, one of them, trying to look Asian but still trying to look themselves. Because that's what Bruce Lee is one of them and one of them. One of the Chinese and one of them. That's what he's supposed to be. That's what he's posing as, right? And so they take over those people in a mass slaughter, and now you have them. They're Abrahamics now. Isn't that great? This is how Christianity was spread, wasn't it? This is exactly how all their religions are spread. The only thing I haven't seen yet is the Satanists rise up and replace the Christians with the new snakeskin. Don't worry. I think they've already explained that they've got a game they're playing with the world, and they've got something they're doing with that in the background. The rest of the world seems to call this place the Great Satan. So, the rest of the world is who anyways? People who are flying their gang symbols and shit, so are they on board? Obviously Trump's on board because he's like purposely destroying the USA and stuff with tariffs and all that shit. So his people can get rich, and they're like, wringing the last few drops out of the dirty used rag. That's what's going on. It's pretty easy to see. You don't just do that stuff to a nation unless you're trying to destroy it. Increase the taxes and everything, unless you're trying to get destroy it and make them poor and have invading armies come kill them off and stuff. It's what they do every other time, isn't it? And so, anyways, so in China, they killed off like half the people, and then they put their Abrahamic ideology in there. Finally, they had been trying that for thousands of years, and now what they do, someone in China owns the factories. Now, it might not be like USA and Israel and Europe and Russia, where Abrahamics own everything, but that would be weird that they worship the Abrahamic ideology and Lord fucking Marx. And at once they worship Lord Mao, who I can't prove is them, but he looks really fucking weird for an Asian person. Which is usually your first sign down at Fraggle Rock. When you see something that looks like a Fraggle, it's a Fraggle. So, don't make that mistake if you're out in the woods and you see something that looks like a bear or a tiger. Don't make the mistake that it's like a little house kitten or a nice little barky dog, because it could actually be a tiger if you're in an area with tigers. Even if you're not, if it looks like a tiger, I'd be like, hey, what's up, tiger? But the rest of you guys might want to be like, packing your bags or just leaving your bags behind and getting out of the neighborhood, because there they are again. There it is, bro. You can also make that assumption with Mao. Let's forget that Mao brought the newest Bible into the nation and spread its ideology, and its ideology did its job. It killed all the natives. That's a repeat pattern there, isn't it? We bring the ideology into the area, and oops, there's a plague. Oh, they wouldn't worship us. Now they got a plague. Well, it must have been God. You know what? Maybe it's not God. Maybe they're making that shit up. Maybe it's them doing everything they're talking about. Maybe it's not God who owns YouTube. Maybe it's not God who owns Facebook. Maybe it's not God who owns Harvey Weinstein Studios. Maybe it's the people who actually are doing this shit who are doing it. What a fucking revelation that is. And maybe it's the people doing things who are actually doing them. There we go. It's a good place to start. There's probably a reason they don't teach you that in their schools. You know, education isn't so important as watching them blow people up in the Middle East and taking donations from kids, from 8-year-olds, to fund tanks and bombs to go steal land from people for them. Yeah, that's something they aren't going to teach in school while they're around. But they will drug children and try to kill them. They do that. It's a slow kill method right there, generally. Other than that, they just try to administer working poisons, right? And probably get rid of them real fast. They could just swap out those pills at any point in time if the Gentiles get too far out of hand. I'm sure that's been in the playbook for a while. Like, what if? Well, if we nuke the place, we die ourselves. We don't want to die. What can we do? Well, we're already drugging them. We could just replace the pills with something else, like we do the food and the water. Anyways, who knows what they're actually doing over there in China too? But let's look at this. Okay, so who owns the corporations over there? Well, I've seen a few people and I can't really decipher it. And I've been shown I've been shown their bloodlines over there. And Lee is obviously one of their names. Like, because when they go places, they're the name changers. They have their new names. And they tend to keep the names different because for some reason that hive mind shit that they have needs facial recognition and language recognition. It's weird how things happen. It's like this thing is whatever is operating this creature here. Fucking, it's like accessing a hive mind right now. But for some reason, it needs to be able to facially recognize its pals and language recognize it. There's weird fucking things going on here, which can really only be explained by one thing. It's a false world with a fucking scenario setup. Really, that's the most logical answer here. Is that I'm literally watching bots in action, and the bots have abilities, right? Like I got a video game open right now, but what does that mean? Does that mean that this character is like watching me since I'm not moving around? Is he like jumping around on the screen on his own? Is he like casting fireball spells on his own? Why not? He's doing it when I'm moving him and stuff, right? His powers are limited, but they are great, right? These powers are great, but they are limited. So I have to chalk shit up like that, but they're pretty deceptive too. So I wouldn't necessarily discount anything. So I always throw those options out. But for some reason, they always keep a name. And they change it when they go to countries, and that's probably because the people the people just watch like the country beside them die, get killed off when the Bergs and the Steens and the Oviches and the Trumps and the Bidens, see, those are new names, aren't they? But other than that, when when the Bergs move in next door, what's going to happen? They're going to replace the Joneses, right? So, anyone in Europe probably has had that figured out. Like, oh, the Bergs just got everyone killed over there. Like in Germany, like let's not let them near. Obviously, when you go to Native Americans, someone comes around with the name, whatever names they had, I guess Smith, Smith and Jones was supposedly famous. We really can't trust people talking about the past now, can we? But Chris Columbus was a famous name now, wasn't it? That's a name that they put some fame to. So let's go with that. So if the natives hear the word language like Columbus, then they're gonna know right away. You know, Pocahontas. That's not good because that's actually so close, isn't it? You know, Chief Whack-a-Mole is going to be like, you know, when he hears the word Columbus, he's gonna be, oh shit, we're about to die, you know. So when you go kill off the Russians and you're right beside China, and your name's Bergsteinovich, you can't. It might be harder if you go over there into China and you're Bergsteinovich, because they'll be like, that's that same people who just killed off those people and caused them all to die, even if they don't know if they killed them off, because back then there's no internet. You can just send a message, hey, they're killing us, and you wouldn't really know. Like 40 years ago, I could have walked down the street killing all my neighbors and no one would have known who I am, and you're an absolute fucking moron if you got caught for that. So, I mean, the world's changed since the day I was born. Since the day I had first memories, it was 1984, the world has changed. Except for, if it's a world within a world, then that world has never actually changed. And the world, the actual world, was always some sort of technology construct. So, most likely not a dream. We're not dreaming up right here for 800,000 hours and not able to wake ourselves. But anyway, so, you know, they go there and they kill the Russians. Everyone, pretty much like everyone knows that at this point, because even their people talk about it in the open. And, I mean, it takes a minute of research to put it together that, oh, these are all the same people. You know, every religion's the same people, and every anti-religion is the same people as a religion. And then, oh, these people refuse their religions, and now they have a political ideology they brought them. And so, you know, takes a bit of research to add all those things to get to China. And then you really can't even research China for further backing proof unless you're skilled in their language, because it's so opposite of all the other. Because when they've made the languages, what they've done is they've literally just revert, like they go south of the border, they go south, and they just write it backwards. So when they go east and west, they change it slightly each direction. Like the ebb and flow of everything is like the ebb and flow of everything. Like the changes that occur are like a painter's brush as he makes a stroke, slowly losing color. And so he decides to add a little dab of a new color, you know, to keep the color permeated. Is that the right word? To keep the color permeated on the canvas. I'm pretty sure there's a better one, but whatever. Keep the color thick and bright and vibrant and actually there, and not just leave open canvas. You got to dip your brush back into it. And so think of that. You're painting. It's so easy to see. Like their path of war, their path of destruction, their path of colonization. You know, if we just start from the pyramid, we can make some pretty direct assumptions if we follow the timeline of who was important that we must pay attention to, and who led the world, and who killed the most people, which would happen to be all the same people every time. You know, each time someone's important that they got to write about, they probably got four things in common. They've killed most people, they've colonize most people. They claim to invent some stuff. I'm not sure where USA is going to come through it. They're going to invent something like that. It's only been here 300 years. They don't have to go through a full, like, 2,000 year cycle of creation with this, as they're going to discard it pretty fast. But they don't have much proof yet of this. But that doesn't mean they can't write it, right? They could write it as anyone invented it too. They definitely don't always write that they invented everything somewhere. They do, like the statues in Rome look a hell of a lot like the people who control America, not the president directly, but Joe Biden directly. Oh yeah, it looks like young Joe Biden for sure. And then, but the people in the TV, it looks more like them. And so they don't always leave their name like that. And then sometimes it's harder to see, like Bruce Lee. It's harder to see. And what the fuck is Mao? For all I know, that's all I know. It's like, what the fuck is Mao? You better watch out. He's got that communist Bible with him. That's not a good idea for the natives. They're about to be replaced. So, anyways. So imagine who owns that shit, right? Is there one nation on the planet that we might suspect these people don't own? And why would we waste time suspecting they don't own everything there when we have their political religion controlling them? And they're not even anywhere near those people, you know? Right? If they came from the Middle East, their race is far off from them in North America and China, because they've taken the land path, the fucking land war path, and they've marched across the world. So, and they have problems getting into China for some reason, in the history anyways. And of course we're always going to have some sort of cover up, like we was slaves. You know, we always have we was slaves, so there's, you know, room to theorize that there is definitely a cover-up of a previous engagement where they did actually take over those people, and they're just hidden in their history. But from what I can tell, they were kind of separate, and so. Unless they're where they came from. But again, I don't think they look human, so I don't think they came from here at all. I wouldn't, at this point in time, I wouldn't suspect that they're Asians who went and fucking colonized the Middle East and stuff. Don't think so. I think there's like 3 to 18 original tribes on the planet, something like that. Most likely that it's not everyone came from south of the desert that would have killed everyone on the planet during those years, because they still can't even, for some reason, humans can't figure out how to live in that desert now without dying. So how are you going to cross it like thousands of years ago? And then there's that story where they get lost in the desert, and for like thousands of years. It's because it's fucking large land, and it sounds like a fable, doesn't it? But, you know, play along. If you're so hot that you're like drunk and high, and you're hallucinating and stumbling around within like 4 hours, and this desert trip is going to be like 10 days, the chances that you're going to know which direction is up and which direction is down, where your feet is and where your head is after 10 hours is slim to none, because that's just how that works. That's how delirium works. It's like taking acid. So imagine just taking acid constantly forever. It's the only thing that backs that story up, the hokey dokey shit. fucking, but it actually makes sense to get lost in that desert for years because you are messed up. You can't follow the sun because within 10 hours of being delirious, you're probably not going to remember that the sun travels across the sky from the east to the west. So, and you're probably not going to be able to move either. And you're probably not going to be able to move very well once all that hydration's from your body. The only thing is that it sets that apart is you die unless someone's protecting you and forcing you to stay alive. I'm still alive. That's weird. I've had people pulling their stunts openly for like 4 years now, and that only confirms my recollection that in the past there was definitely things done to me that can kill people, and things that weren't going to end until one of us died. And so, pretty easy to things that were set up and staged, fucking, and planned for in advance, just like some of the recent obvious attempts on my life, fucking, and so, whatever that shit is, but, I still wouldn't believe any of the hokey doke they say, just to be fucking, straightforward about that. The only importance the hokey doke fucking really has is they're explaining to you what they're doing and they're blaming someone else for what they're doing. So, I would definitely go with that because that seems to be what it is. So, let's get back to the China thing, and then we're trying to explain the supporting evidence here for the for what is going on. Obviously, they have the sickle and the star over there in China, and who invented that? Well, that's Einstein's twin brother, and Joel Osteen's twin brother, and the Pope's twin brother, and Anton LaVey's twin brother, Howard Levy. I need to say Howard Levy because it's a little bit harder to find a picture without Howard Levy. Fucking Howard Levy's twin brother. Carl Sagan's twin brother. Bill Nye's twin brother. Joe Biden's twin brother. You get the point there. When it looks like that person, then you can assume it's that person. So don't go out in the woods and see hyenas, and don't go out in the plains and jungle plains and see hyenas, and expected it's a cute little kitty cat. And especially if you're out in the plains or the desert and jungles and stuff, then if you see something that looks like a kitty cat at that point, don't think you're just being delirious or actually seeing a cat either, because it's probably something that's not a cat. And if tigers and leopards and stuff don't like you, then they will like the taste of you. So you always got to watch out for what something looks like. Like pedophiles. It used to be pretty obvious when an old man pulls up to you in a van and offers you candy. And people are like, well, that person's trying to rape you, right? So if you see that happening, what you do is you tell your kids to not go near those people. My family was actually correct. We had some dude at the end of the road who was doing shit. Maybe they invented it with their manifesting powers by talking about that shit. But no. I actually had some shit like that happening fucking on our block. Don't know the full extent, but definitely was some shit happening. I mean, dude was literally outside on his front lawn, like in his doorway doing it. So, anyways, fucking those type of things happen in this planet. And, hell, he's not the problem. They got an organized fucking cult across the world who does stuff like that. Fucking, he looked like, you know what, recalling what he looked like, that's odd, because he kind of looked like he kind of looked like Weinstein. So, isn't that weird there? No, we're talking about looks and actions, and what to look out for and why. That's odd. I mean, a lot of fat people look the same because they have distorted, you know, they have extra fat layers that all tend to build the same shape of person. But yeah, I'm pretty sure still, you know, stress on the body probably causes you to bald faster, and so that probably comes with the thing. And, you know, that's the human explaining how it happens if it weren't created that way on an art pad. But yeah, that's weird. I remember him looking somewhat like Weinstein, and from that point in time, every time I kind of seen Weinstein, I was like, oh, it's like a pedophile. Fucking, I worked for some dude who looked similar to them, and I was like worried about that. I was running security when I was a little kid, and I didn't realize how people like viewed me and thought I was an adult, and I was probably jacked at 15, so I was more concerned this dude was trying to rape me. Shit, because he looked like that dude who looked like Weinstein that was doing shit when I was like, it was like 6 to 10. He was doing it for like years and stuff, fucking, before I think the cops eventually did something about it. But, okay, so I'm going to pause this for a second. We're going to get back to China. Anyway, so the global great Satan over there is obviously over there fucking mangling them and killing them and giving them a new ideology to worship. And they wouldn't accept a religion, so obviously they were trying to get them to worship the race, right? Their race. And that's also the reason why you have to create Satanism and atheism and have their people run it. And it's not like you create atheism, but you create a name for the cult and then you have a leader for it. So it's still a cult because you have a fucking leader, and you have like 5 of their people fucking who are figureheads of it. And it's still obviously their cult because they're running it. And there's one group of people on the planet who could outthink their mind control, their fucking Hitlerberg's mind control schemes, and they had problems getting them to fucking let that in their nation. Apparently their people are well together enough that when another race comes to kill them off and says you must worship our race or die, that they say we'd rather die. And they're stronger than the Native Americans, so they couldn't wholesale kill them all. And they packed up and left. They tried to leave behind some of their people after they killed them off for not accepting it. They were like, as part of the truce, you gotta allow some priests to come in your nation and teach your people about our people. And they're like, that in specific, you know, they want money, they want women, they want resources, food, probably some troops and some weapons, and they want to send in some priests. They want to send in proselytes, those people on the street corner who are going around threatening to torture you if you don't join them, and give them all your money and your children's wieners and all that shit. Fucking, isn't that a weird war agreement? We have to send in all those innocent, helpless little kids and little girls, because these days that's what it is. It's It's like you can tell, like they're filling my feed with their bullshit about Jesus Christ, Church of the Latter-day Saints, and it shows like some 12-year-old fucking. It shows 16-year-olds because normal people aren't attracted to fucking 12-year-olds. So it shows like some 16-year-old coming of age girls who like are like these hot as fuck German girls and shit. And as if that represents Middle Eastern religion and not the people their people have killed. As if that represents USA. I don't know about you, but I traveled USA and I didn't see any of these fucking people, dude. We got these Irish side of town up here, and to be honest, I really don't even go hang out there. But other than that, I traveled the rest of the world. I went to the Irish festival, and yeah, it looked like some Irish people. But I traveled the whole fucking nation, and I didn't see these people. That must be something. That I'm telling you that those are probably propaganda pieces where they show pictures of people in America who used to look that way. I don't. Again, they have a history of replacing people and acting like they're still those people. So, but who did they replace? They replaced the Native Americans. And then they blame someone else for what they do. So, pretty simple there. So they were the Europeans because they invaded and colonized them. So that's how the Europeans killed the Native Americans, because the people who had just killed the fucking Europeans came over and kept killed the people beside the Europeans. That's pretty simple there. Just like the people who just killed the Europeans are now killing the Russians. And now the people who just killed the Russians are now killing the Chinese. And thus here we are talking about what's probably going on in Chinese factories. Let's look at the repeat pattern here of who does what. Well, they're con men. Literally, the game has given them the name con men because their last name is sometimes Con, like John Con Kerry, the senator. So, there's, rumors going around about these people, and pretty much every rumor like that, it just happens to be about the people in control. And so they're known as the con men because that's their name and shit. When someone scams you, they call you con because John Con Kerry's family is known for scamming people. Obviously, they invented the Bible, so they invented that New World Order religion before that stuff. They invented the pyramids. It's a scam. What are you doing? You're doing absolutely nothing of value. You're going to die off if you do nothing except for sit around and build useless pyramids. And for morons who need carried through the desert on their fucking gold thrones and shit. You're going to die off. And what the fuck happened to Egypt? It just disappeared. They were so great because they could build nothing at all of value. And now they're gone. Now no one even knows who they are. You might have this group on the planet who's sneaking back home. That might be the real reason we need to go take over Israel and then Palestine, because Egypt's right south of Palestine. Just like Egypt's on the back of their dollar bill. So, they're obviously thinking about that a lot. Baby dicks and pyramids must be on their frickin' mind. And pyramids must be on their mind a hell of a lot, because they didn't put a baby dick on the dollar bill. They put a pyramid, and that's weird, because, I mean, what do you think of more? I mean, obviously, George Washington's a hot guy. Old man in a wig. That's probably second sexiest to a 2-year-old boy. But so I can understand that. And you got Eagle. Their people probably like to have sex with those. So And you got some weapons the Eagle's holding, like to kill people. But why is the pyramid there? What does that have to do with anything? Why are they so obsessed with that? How come, like, their leading cults have that? How come some churches have the pyramid in it? How come, and what's that about? Well, if we see everything going on today, they're inventing every religion. So it's easy to just be like, oh, well, they obviously were those people, weren't they? Oh, but they said they weren't. But they said they weren't. Oh my God, they said they weren't. They said they weren't raping children too, but they literally are legally. They literally made it legal for their people to do it. They said there's separation of church and the government. Why is the pigs wearing fucking Star of Davids on their shirts and vehicles and pentagrams? Why? Why would they choose the Star of David and call themselves the judicial system? I don't know, man. Maybe they should start wearing yarmulkes to make it a little obvious why they would do that. Frickin' white rabbi robes. And driving around in ice cream trucks to bait children or something. Ambulances. They seem to like to drive ambulances, if you get that reference. That's stories leaked over the years about who owns what and what they do with what they own. If you own the government and the hospitals, you can cover up murder scenes and all sorts of shit. If you're a first responder, you can clean up a crime scene pretty fast or plant evidence on it. But over there in China, we got, okay, and here's a link. Okay, so if they're going to be, I mean, they're lying about everything, right? But if they're going to be pulling a scheme, they're going to be creating a distraction from that scheme to blame someone else for it, right? Happens every time, don't it? Everything that's happening isn't because of the people who are in control. That's the most important thing on this planet, is to not look at the people who control things. That's why we invent invisible people. Because, like, oh my God, this government's out of hand. And you're like, well, it's probably, those people in control are messing things up. And then the people in control are like, oh, no, I'm possessed by Satan. It's not my fault. Invisible people are doing it. And apparently that caught on, and people are like, oh shit, it's invisible people. Damn it. Fucking Satan. We're not going to be able to do anything this time. Satan's always winning. Okay, guys, go back to work. Fucking, you always got something like that going on with them. There's always someone else. It's the Nazis. Oh, the Nazis look like you. That's the communist then. You are the communist. It's Satan. It's Satan. He's invisible. You can't see him. That's just the way it works. Like, we're gonna have to sit and wait for one of our race to come save you from us. And he's invisible too. Yeah, so, well, get back to work, guys. Good job out there messing everything up today. Tomorrow, I want to see you work harder and do better. But for now, get back to work. It's not quite 12. It's not quite 12 at night yet. There's still a little bit of moonlight left. You guys can build some useless fucking pyramids under. They always got that going on there. Where, like, every fucking time we're discussing them, what are they doing? They're pointing their fingers at other people, and it doesn't even make sense most of the time. So they just settle for, well, if it's going to sound stupid, let's just say invisible people are doing it and shit. Fucking, and it seems to work. Somehow that shit works. And maybe Maybe it works because fucking the people I'm dealing with are the people fucking inventing shit like that. That's my best theory because they kind of act that way and would want to be able to be like, oh, it wasn't me, it was invisible people. They're always being like, it wasn't me, I didn't do that. Hey, you did, you just kicked me in the face. It wasn't me, it was Satan. Nah, you're the only person here. We're in my house, we're in my room. No one else is in the house with us. There's your footprint on my face. I didn't do that. I will fucking kill you if you tell me I did that again. Well, and you're threatening to kill me, so that's kind of what someone who kicks you in the face might be trying to do to begin with. What did I say? It was Satan. Fucking Jesus is gonna torture you if you don't fucking start listening up. Fucking... Bro, you can't make up these people and what the shit they say and do and act like. I couldn't make this shit up. It's just like, I would have to smoke a huge bowl of fucking crack or something and drink a gallon of bleach and go out in the middle of the desert and get delirious to be able to invent some of this shit, dude. Fucking. But anyways, okay, so they're busy blaming everyone else for everything, right? Now that we've got that figured out, that who's doing that every time they fucking speak, etc., 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 every fucking time something's going on, every time anything's happening, that their go-to method is to blame someone else for what they're doing. Okay, so where's this link? Well, they own the stores who are choosing to purchase the broken garbage, right? I myself can contact corporate factories in China and have them make something for me. I could do this 20 years ago. I know people did this 20 years ago. Today, it's probably even easier. They have better products over there too. I can get better things for way less cost because there's no scam man in the middle who is trying to make a huge profit for allowing me to breathe air. And like scam man Trump there, he needs money for cocaine and prostitutes, and how does he get that? Well, it's weird because they have all the prostitutes in lockup and they have all the cocaine in lockup, so it's free for them. But, play along. The money's going somewhere. Probably his home in Israel. That's where it all goes. That's the whole point of the church there, isn't it? To take all that money and then send it back to Israel. So they've been sending their money back to Israel for a few thousand years. And so obviously you can tell every nation, half the nations in the world have been sending most of their money to Israel for the past 100 years to help them build, take more land and work their way back to Egypt. And so those people are, making up all this shit about Chinese people are selling me junk. That's why I sell you junk. Like, know that what happens when you run a business is you order a product. You choose a product and you order it. See, when you run a business, things don't just magically appear and then you have to sell them because that's all there is. That's all there is. Oh, well, I got broken shit. I better sell it. I was 15. I bought a box of fucking Metal Gun fucking replica lighters, and they didn't work very well, so I didn't want to sell them and shit. But they were really nice, other than the fact that they had a possibility to break, as far as the torch lighter. Because America's been selling junk since I was born. This is nothing new. I didn't buy that from, oh, my bad, that's actually ill-related, but I didn't buy that from America. I bought that from eBay, and all my torch lighters I bought from America were trashed. They're like $60, which is like $300 these days. Like, I was a kid fucking buying one or two nice things a year and shit instead of a bunch of junk. And so I wanted a fucking nice lighter and shit, and then my Zippos taste like shit, so I'm not gonna buy a Zippo. Besides, torches are way cooler, fucking, and they look way better than Zippos. That's old people shit, fucking. So, so everything was broken back then. All the torch lighters, every one I bought, fucking spent like equivalent of like $150 to $300 today, probably, maybe even more. Fucking on lighters at the best stores I could find, and they were all broken within a few uses and stuff, because they were already selling garbage fucking in 1990s. So that doesn't seem to be extremely new here. And obviously the Abrahamics footprint is to claim they're new somewhere after they've been caught. So just because they say they're new here, like they just moved in 1960, and that's why their religion is causing problems. They're scapegoating their religion to cover for their race again, and when in fact they wrote the book in 1920 saying they were new here, and that's why they came over and took over and everything changed. And when in fact we can just look back at the history of the fucking USA, and Abraham Lincoln definitely was named Abraham after the world's most famous fucking pedophile, conman, fucking a manipulated fucking genocidal fucking terrorist. Yeah. And what's he famous for? Well, they paint him in a good light, but he freed the slaves so they could learn to go fight wars and steal land for him. That's a pretty neat trick there. What you do is you go kill people, and you take their children, you enslave them, and what you do is you train those children to go kill more people and enslave them for you, and they'll do it. And it's so fucking neat trick you can do. Fucking amazing. And then what usually happens in history is those people kill you. So there's always hope, right? There's always hope. Eventually, after a few hundred years or something, they kill the people who have been doing that to them. Oh, wait a minute, they're crying about that now, aren't they? That's why they literally got Nazis running for presidents, because they think their slaves are killing them, are going to kill them. So they want to install a police state to prevent that from happening. You know, I say, go slaves, kill them all. Fucking get rid of them. Like, they're enslaving everyone. Like, I mean, the Irish are real fucking sellouts, right? The only reason they're here is because they're brought here on slave ships, too. Fucking, I'm pretty sure America probably looked a lot like Israel 300 years ago. I get the idea. Chris Columbus definitely looks like a Rothschild mutant, so if that's any idea who the fuck was here 300 years ago, then bingo, you've won. Jackpot. But, okay, so they're over here with their businesses selling trash. And it's like, what type of Chinese person is so low class that they would make trash? Wow. What type of people on this planet is so low class that they make trash? There we go. I don't know many people myself. Well, actually, yeah, you know, I do know some people personally who would sell trash to other people and shit. But, yeah, for the majority, I think the people I know who actually put their hands on and craft shit are like, realize, like, if you make something of value, it's worth more money, and you can make more money off it. And the people won't come kill you for fucking robbing them. That's a good thing, too. But I guess when you own the world, you're not. And you've been deceiving and manipulating and enslaving them for 6,000 years, and they're so dumb you can talk to them about Invisible Scooby-Doo, and they'll fucking be like, oh, it must be Invisible Scooby-Doo, not you. Fucking. I guess when you get that far and you got that fucking shitty fucking life attitude where you're God and your race is God and everyone should fucking worship you, then it probably leads to shit like that, right? I don't know what it's like inside the mind of a Nazi pedophile, but you can tell it's pretty sick, right? Fucking, I mean, half the time they're going around with that Monty Burns look on their face, and that's not money they're thinking of. Well, it's definitely children and stuff, so one of their 6 things that they've protected over the years, children, and they're definitely not thinking of the one of the 6 things, where they have their women rape men in the form of marriage to kill them and destroy their lives and suck their blood from them and for their entire existence and keep them down, prevent them from going anywhere. You're not thinking of that because that's a woman, and they're not thinking of anything to do with women. Fucking, and you're not definitely gonna look at Laura Loomer and ever fucking want to think about that thing. Like, fucking, even Lady Gaga doesn't want you to think of her. That's why she puts on these weird outfits to distract from her, so you don't look at her. That's why Marilyn Monroe bends over, because she doesn't want you to think of her. She wants you to think of her panties. Fucking. Even they agree with down with that section. They don't like women. They like to rape children, little boys, little boys. Some people specifically chose females. So, some people might be straight and some people might not be. Some people might be in the closet and some people might not be. It's like, I think these people are in the closet about being Chinese, and they're in the closet about being the Russians too, aren't they? They're in the closet about who they are, period, in general. They're, supposedly, when I was born, they were Europeans over here in America, and now all of a sudden they're like kind of not. You know, we don't really, I don't really see any Europeans around here. Looks kind of void of it. Hell, I've been to some cities where I didn't see anyone else. Those are nice and isolated and protected very well. They even have some battleships out there sitting beside their cities, so pretty well protected area and isolated to prevent anything from changing that specific thing. And so anyways, yeah, these obviously the store owners out here and are choosing what to sell you. So when they sell you broken trash, they're picking out that broken trash to sell you. And obviously when someone sells you broken trash, you know it's broken trash, and then so they're going to give you a real deep discount. So what they do is, you know, they have like these bad fucking productions. They don't even care. These scams that don't even work, and they'll sell it to you for like 10 cents on the dollar. So you make a higher profit when the stores buy the broken trash from their brothers in China. Then they make a higher profit off that. I can go buy a fake iPhone Max 13 or whatever's the new one for $250, right? That's a hell of a lot of money for a piece of shit that just appears to work and doesn't really at all. And just enough to fucking trick someone who's turning it on. And then I can sell it for $2,000. So I'm having to pay for it, and I know it's junk, but I know I'm going to get to scam a moron. And so I can do that. And you can do that. You can go online and buy those. It's just like you can go to China and buy your shit directly rather than going across the street and buying what they have chosen to sell you. So those people across the street are purposely choosing that fake iPhone 13 because it costs them 1/10 of the price of something that works. And they choose to stock their shelves with that. And they got marketplaces, just like they got free media. Jeff Bezos, the twin of all the people who own and run every store in this fucking city, and the con men, the people related to John Con Kerry, and Jeffrey Epstein, don't forget him. He is actually like king of the city and stuff. His boss's name is on everything out here. Like, oh my God, everywhere. It's sickening to drive around the city because it's like they're king. It's like, that's why I call him King Jeffrey Epstein, because the motherfucker's king of the world. And this dude's even bigger. Everyone in the world worships this dude. Fucking. And people wear his symbol. He puts his symbol on their ass and they just buy it. They pay like $50 for fucking his brand to be literally on their ass. So that's this city. That's this whole fucking world and shit. It's not just his brand name. It's like he puts the brand on their ass because it's the word pink, and it's in reference to their vaginas, you know. So preferably it's a 15-year-old wearing it, because it probably becomes brown after that sometime. But fuck, they wouldn't want it. That'd be old and used up. Plus, they wouldn't want it to begin with because it's a female. That's to bait other people with. Fucking. But yeah, fucking. Anyway, so they're choosing what to buy and they're choosing what to sell. They're choosing what's allowed to be sold on their website. I've messaged, Jeff Bezos' family at Amazon, and reported fake silver listings, and then I went back a few months later and seen it still there. It's just, they don't care. Their people are making money off that. You see, they're making when someone goes on there and sells some fake silver, they make like 15 cents off each sale. And you're taking money away from them if you stop them from having scammers sell fake stuff on their website. So they literally sell Bibles. The Bible salesman. The word Bible salesman is their people. Their people are. That's where the name con man comes from. Bible salesman, con man. What a pedophile. These are all words that come from one group's action and shit. It's obvious as fuck. Like, I've never met other pedophiles, but obviously con comes from their name. And Bible salesman, who the fuck invented that? Who the fuck is going around doing that? What is that fucking mutant rat? Trump and his pals. Those Rothschild scumbags. And fucking Israel. Fucking, that's the fuck the Bible. It's the Romans. Those fucking diseased fucking pedophile motherfuckers. And so there you go. I'm sure he sells Bibles on that fucking, right? Yeah, it's pretty obvious because they sell Bibles here on Israel Tube and shit. Fucking, they flood your fucking. Their people be trying to target me, like they think I'm gonna become their bitch real soon or something. They've been thinking that for fucking 40 years, 45 fucking years. Obviously, they got no fucking thoughts, because I'd be the last person. Be the last person to do anything but infiltrate and fucking tear it down. And it's the only time I've ever went there is fucking when there are people, fucking terrorists, who force you to do shit. They're trying to turn you gay, so they take you to church when you're a child and lock you up with the gay people there. This is literally what happens at church. Fucking, literally, these are the memories of church. Fucking. And I'm sure they're created for that reason, because I don't think these fuckers are in control of their own bodies. So I'm pretty sure it's being set up to show you what the fuck they're doing. Just who they are. They're fucking they're real scared bitches who have to hide everything they do, and they're definitely in the closet, and they're ashamed of that apparently, and so they have to hide it. Other than that, they could just be like, "That's a good thing." No one even cares, I don't think. I've never met a person who cares, but then again, all I know is them. So they love it, especially their women. They love watching men have sex. Fucking, isn't that disgusting? Like, it doesn't go just as far as they rape little boys for fun every fucking day, all day long. It goes as far as their women want to see their husbands rape little boys. Because they're that disgusting too. Fucking amazing. It's an amazing life I've got to live to fucking get to see the inner workings of this fucking project and shit. Fucking, I'll tell you, so fucking, the greatest life you could have never wished for there. Fucking, what, I go hang over the toilet and fucking vomit about 4 to 6 hours a day sometimes. Probably should have a little more self-respect for myself and spend 8 to 12 hours a day vomiting, but I let all that shit slide until it became like, like, why are we doing this over and over and over and over, and why are we trying to kill me over and over and over? Fucking, anyway, so we're dealing with these people who the least of the problems they cause is genociding people and creating factories to sell junk and posing as the people they just genocided so they can scapegoat someone else for when they go and sell that junk across the planet. And I'm theorizing that that's probably what's happening. Okay, so we have a nation over here who has a Bible, who worships a Bible salesman as their prophet. The Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet Jesus, the Prophet Karl Marx, and the Prophet Einstein. And so we have them worshiping the Prophet Muhammad Marx. And we have a nation over here who worships the prophet. They got several prophets over here. They got the Prophet Einstein, but they've created the Prophet Einstein and the Prophet Anton LaVey, and they claim that they worship the Prophet Jesus, and they actually worship the Prophet Amen Ra. Clearly they're saying amen. And they're saying Amon's name constant at the end of everything, like, please God, help me take over the world. Amen Ra. Amen Ra. Please God, I'd like $1 million. Amen Ra. Please God, kill my enemies for me. Amen Ra. Please God, kill the heathens. Amen Ra. Please God, kill all the people who believe in the wrong God. Amen Ra. So I really get the idea that they're probably the one inventing every Scooby-Doo episode, which is weird. Let's look up who actually invents Scooby-Doo itself. The real Scooby-Doo, not the ones who will never appear, but the real Scooby-Doo. Could it be a bald-headed, fucking mutated, fucking oblong skull, Rothschild-looking motherfucker? Why? You would be correct if you said it could be, because it is. So that was hard to tell, wasn't it? I asked. Who did something on TV? Boy, how was I right? How did I know who did that? How did I know who invented Scooby Doo of all things on TV? Because that's all they're doing is inventing Scooby Doo episodes. Fucking Scooby Doo tales and shit. That's where they try to put a good moral in that story, and like in reality, the Scooby Doo story itself is like the story of capturing them and shit. Of all stories on the planet, that's so weird that they would write that story because they're the ones who are fucking who need the fucking mystery team to fucking figure out what they've been up to. They're the evil guys in the fucking show and the shit. It would be weird that I guess it sells, right? They supposedly couldn't start Hollywood with a bunch of gay people having orgies during daytime, and they had to slowly bring forth Jerry Springer and you know, they had to start with something that like fart jokes and have their people like beat you up if you insulted fart jokes, and you know, like if you were one of those people who's wise enough to realize these people are fucking disgusting trash and they're ignorant, their people would definitely be there to beat you up and shit for that back in the day. There's no insulting USA or Elvis Presley or fart jokes back in the day. You couldn't do any of that stuff. Fucking, you would get your fucking face pounded in for that. They still like to, but I think they might be overran. Rome might be overran by its fucking slaves, and probably a common theme these days to not actually like it. Hey, that's weird. They're rounding up people who fucking don't like it. Boy, couldn't be more correct about that. The ebb and flow of time here and what's actually happening at this position in time, could I? So, all the more reason, probably correct here. Fucking. Here's another factoid to back up that they're probably Father Abraham is probably over there in China running those corporations. Father Bruce Lee, Father Andrew Chu is probably over there running those corporations. It's the fact that, well, they own everything. Okay, so we got the fact that they own everything already. They force people to worship them in lands that they control and own everything in. And obviously that's being done in China. And they're the ones going around creating most of the scams on the planet, to the point that the word Khan itself has been named after the Abrahamic bloodline. And I mean just so many links. Like, they're already promoting themselves as Chinese people. And you know, you've probably been colonized once that's happened. I don't know if China actually likes Bruce Lee or not, but I could see why not, because once you start doing that, your nation's gone. Once you start accepting Bruce Lee as your Lord and Savior, it's over for you. Your people are dead. You'll be having Lady Gaga perform on stage, and you know, Jeffrey Epstein hanging out with Lady Gaga on stage and behind the scenes, behind the stage, at the VIP meet and greet. They'll be charging little children to go meet Jeffrey Epstein and fucking Lady Gaga. Now, it was actually a free. The one concert in specific I can think of was free, so they actually made that one free. They had like Backstreet Boys or something. And it was free, but I mean, hey, it's not beyond them to actually charge for people to go meet Jeffrey Epstein and stuff, right? It's definitely unfortunately, I just said it, so if for some reason their brains couldn't think of it, now they've heard the words. They charge you to go to church to fucking get your children raped and shit, fucking, and they charge you to worship them. They charge you to worship them. Pay to come worship us. If not, we'll give you something free. We'll give you a little piece of bread and you can pay us back later. Don't say we didn't do anything for you. Don't forget to go to Boy Scouts and learn how to fight and die for us. Train for war. Because evil Satan's out there. And they don't know we're actually Satan. But yeah, I mean, let's look at it. Let's look at the pattern. Do you think I don't view other people's trashy, mainly because I've got them in my life, so I have them mostly. Mostly them. Obviously, we've got, like, Babylon is filled with a lot of supporters, a lot of lazy fuckers who won't be able to exist in the real world once the cushiness collapses. And the other nations come back wanting their fucking labor repaid. But they, just all these traits aren't really seen as much by other people. Is that just because they own everything and they prevent other people from being able to be the trash, all the trash they can be? I mean, they're busy in their media saying everyone else is trash, and then you go to Mexico and it's like paradise compared to fucking America. And there's no crackheads laying around. There's no white crackheads laying around the fucking streets. Well, there was one. I mean, these people were following me, though. That was pretty clear. I mean, we literally have IDF show up at one place I'm at. So I'm pretty sure it's not an accident. And then they show me that they can alter the fucking, they're altering the fucking Uber app and shit and preventing my ride from coming. So I can rely upon them. Again, they take everything from you and then give you a little crumb in return. And then say you better thank me and die for me. And give me some little boys. Have some little boys so I can have some sexy time. That's a repeat pattern here. Obviously, some sort of alien species. How the fuck do these people in other nations who appear as natives fucking end up being able to do the same manipulation of technology if it's not a bot species with a hive mind? And how did most of these fuckers do any of that hive mind shit if it's not a bot species with a hive mind? I mean, it's pretty simple and fucking. And that's the most obvious answer. We don't have to go looking for invisible Scooby-Doo. Are they possessed by the Abrahamic Satan? Are the Abrahamics possessed by the Abrahamic Satan? What if they were possessed by Karl? What if China's being possessed by Karl Marx? Oh my God. Karl Marx and Satan must be working together. Wow. I mean, literally, like, we would use the word Satan to describe these people, but when we're using the word Satan, what their people are doing is they're laying out a trap for you to go back to worshiping them, as every other thing is. And if you try to avoid worshiping them, you're going to get baited. They're going to try to recruit you into Satan or Einstein, who are their people, telling you to worship their people again. So that's as simple as that. If they're playing the Satan mind game with you, what they want you to do is go to church and give them money and have little boys so they can have sex with. You can clearly see that from my interactions with them. This is how they've been my whole fucking life, but I've definitely been testing this since 2020. And they can't come up, but like, how do you convince someone to come worship you without sounding like a slimy scumbag? And like they can't seem to word it any better and cover up their attitudes about being slimy and shit when they come up to me. After they fucking assault and kill me, they appear as a person in a wheelchair and spreading Bible pamphlets, and then they're like acting like they're gonna kill me in the wheelchair if I don't worship them as gods and shit. Meanwhile, their people are also trying to get me to tell the world I'm Jesus and to worship them. And so it's like, wow, that's weird. That's weird. You're telling me I'm not a Christian, but you're trying to convince me to tell the whole world I'm Jesus and they should worship you, which you're obviously doing to everyone who looks like me, because you got a new person on TV saying that every few years, and that means they've been visited by the alien trash. And the alien trash is convincing them of things that are not true. And they're trash who want to go along, because they make it real obvious that they're not telling you you're Jesus. They're telling you that they want you to say you are. It's a clear grammatical definition of the encounters with them I have. Their people and their minions are not there to spread hope and love. Obviously, there is no hope and love, especially with their people around, unless you consider having sex with children love, which they do. That's as close as their people will ever get to showing emotions, is how excited they look when they're sucking off a child. And their media. Isn't that weird? Their media will put that in their media, but then you repost it to be like, look what this trash Zuckerberg is up to. And then Zuckerberg will ban it. But Zuckerberg will use his media to promote it. That way his people, it's like porno for them and shit. So they can just put that on the front page of the newspaper and get away with publishing child porn for their people. So that's what's going on. And I mean, you can tell, I bet you remove all those people from their positions and all of a sudden stuff in America would start working. But they're trash, selling trash. Last I checked, the Chinese had honor and respect, and that's like no people on the planet have that and shit. But they like value it and stuff, and they have for like centuries. So that's weird that after the Abrahamic fucking Karl Marx genocided them with through Mao, the spirit of fucking Father Abraham. Mao was possessed with it. Fucking, then, after that, they started selling trash. So, that's who they are. That's what they do. Have you ever met them? Fucking, just watch them. Yeah, I hope you've never met them. That's bad for you. You're probably brainwashed and probably got children with them, and you know the enemy. So, I mean, it's usually why they're in your life. It's how they kill people. They don't just always spread plagues and go around shooting everyone and chopping everyone up. They also fucking poison the water and fucking create death any way they can. Really, fucking. Obviously, one of their favorite things there is a mind control to enslave people because they're too fucking lazy to do anything themselves. And I mean, they're just so dirty, and I don't even know if it's targeted, but their people will like try to enslave their own kids, so their kids spend their whole lives like cleaning their floors for them and scrubbing their toilets. Not like they don't have the brain power to register that the kid could go get a real job and hire like 5 maids to clean 10 houses during that same time. They're not very good with thinking. It's like animal instincts. It's like a hyena. It's like, like, why do they die so much? Why do they have to hunt in packs? Can't they be smarter? No, they're hyenas. They're just bots with no thoughts. And they're not going to be able to do anything different anytime soon. And that's why they got to create the evolution theory, because the sins of the father and all that, you can't blame them for what they're doing today that their parents did 6,000 years ago. That's why they got all these hokey doke stories all boil down to, in slogans and shit, all boil down to pretty much them trying to explain their life away. Since they own everything, most of the shit they put is their people saying something. So most things are them trying to explain away who they are and cover up for who they are. Like, they've done so much and they do so much that they have to spend all fucking day. They've got to create cults to convince, like, they got to spread all across the world that there's a good one in them. And that one says to worship all the bad ones. And not to blame them for what they keep doing for thousands of years. But at the same time, they're telling you the DNA is real and they're never going to be able to change who they are. And for people who refuse to believe that invisible people are the reason why they act like trash, and invisible people said to worship them as gods and give them all your money and your children. Those people came up with this DNA thing, even though they're still promoting that has nothing to do with, the sins of their pedophile father 6,000 years ago. I'm sure their father from 6,000 years ago raping children has nothing to do with why they rape children today, right? They just, not at all. No, they just have a Bible telling you to rape children. They just have a Bible telling you to rape men, telling their women to rape men who aren't them, to kill them off and shit. They just have a Bible telling them to genocide everyone on the planet. They just have a Bible telling them that slavery is okay. It's the Bible, but they don't read. They're too fucking lazy. They definitely aren't going to read their own book of mind control. Who the fuck would do that? Why would you write a book of mind control and read it yourself? I mean, they are stupid, but I mean, it's a waste of time, like total waste of time. Fucking, it's the bot shit that allows them to recite passages from it. It's their non-human fucking side that allows that. They don't ever read the book. They don't ever read anything. They don't ever do much of anything. Fucking. That's how they memorize all that shit. I noticed that as soon as 2020 hit, it's like, oh, the bot shit explains everything, doesn't it? That's why everything's been happening, isn't it? That's how it happens. That's how it's going to happen. That's how they're going to be able to continue to recite stupid movie quotes. And even though, like, anyone with a brain isn't going to remember a single fucking word from TV, I can't even watch that shit. Fucking, I think I've watched some movies 20, 30 times, and I still don't even remember any of it. It's like, yeah, because I didn't actually watch it and shit. I was busy thinking of fucking hitting myself in the head with a brick or something much more valuable than that. Busy these days, obviously, I'm busy thinking of the fucking terrorists who've been in my life and shit, and how to fucking get away from them, or how can I accurately fucking repay such fucking actions and shit. But, on a per basis. Obviously, killing someone who wants to be killed isn't the same as killing someone who wants to be alive. Making someone eat potato chips isn't the same as making someone who wants to eat potato chips eat potato chips. It's they know these rules. They know that's why they play their games. They're good enough with the language. That's how they write Bibles and other mind control shit. Is because uh, they're good enough with the manipulation of everything to be able to milk everything for every drop they can get out of it. And this is milking something for every drop they can get out of it. They take a nation, they separate it, and they fucking make sure the language is so distinctly different that no one's going to be able to understand each other, and then they become those people, and then they use that place to sell garbage to the other people, and then they arm them with nukes so they can never be toppled for selling junk, since they're so busy spending all day blaming Chinese for why they're trash and always have been trash. Why they choose to buy trash at 10 cents on the dollar and resell it fucking for 5 times the fucking going price. That's broken trash, and they know it's broken trash, and they keep buying it. You know, this is them. This is their pattern. This is their DNA. This is the robot code programming the bot's brains here. Fucking, this is the best I'm assuming, right? Other than that, it really is a terrorist fucking bot species. Fucking, I mean, I'm pretty sure either way, they're bots. They fucking, nothing could be that trashy without being designed to be that way and shit. And it's highly networked, highly organized. It's quite fucking. It's quite skillful if it were something that people put together, which is kind of like the obvious opposite of a lot of shit I've seen. In my experience, their people are still trying to stay in caveman ages. Like Einstein has to murder the Germans and steal their technology from them in order to fucking have nukes to kill the Japanese with. He can't invent that himself. He doesn't invent TV. They don't invent TV. They have to steal that. They're not given the brain power to do shit like that. They're giving this special, unique ability to play the role of Jabba the Hutt. Weinstein, you know, he what, sits around and does what? Does he really make movies? How is that media all magically fucking appearing out of nowhere and when, like, mirroring what I just went through 5 seconds ago in my life, or what I'm doing while I'm watching the movie? It appears on the screen. Fucking, how does that happen? Fucking, if Weinstein's actually doing some work besides hiring prostitutes and stuff, probably not happening. That's still, like, you know, the highest up people in the world, though. So we're talking about, like, the highest up people in the world and how much they're doing to get to where they are. Obviously, Trump is selling Bibles to get to where he is. He sold Bibles for 2 days, so he's a billionaire now, right? Obviously, Elon Musk says the word Tesla, so he's a billionaire, right? Yeah, he did something. He said recently other people do all the work, though. So we don't know exactly what he did, but he said the word Tesla. So that he got rich apparently doing that. That's the only thing we have evidence of him ever actually doing. We don't have nothing other than that, really. He said he founded PayPal. What does that mean? He wrote his name on a lease agreement for a building somewhere. I mean, I'm not expecting too much. I'd be surprised if there was too much more than that going on. alien species who already had this slavery shit set up a long time ago, fucking created thousands of years ago and have done absolutely fucking nothing since, that's an acceptable answer, isn't it? That explains away the hive mind shit without simply relegating them to being fucking evil bots on the planet. Fucking, but the proof they've done anything in between that time, did they create fart jokes? That's not doing anything. Also, did they create Elvis Presley? That's not doing anything. I've heard crickets fucking chirp. Fucking, that sounded like better music than that. More talented, more. The crickets have spent more time fucking honing their musical talent than that dude did. And that was a whole fucking orchestra and shit in order to make that simple bippity bop fucking twinkle twinkle little star crap. Fucking. All he did was what Marilyn Monroe did, is he shook his ass, and all the homos loved it, and all the bitches loved it. And that's all Marilyn Monroe had to do. Cover her face up with 2 pounds of makeup, burn her hair off, wear a wig, and then show her ass. That's why they make the statue of her showing her ass instead of her face. You look at that long enough, you'll fucking... Especially a statue, because you don't put makeup on a statue generally, so. But, yeah. Might as well just assume that, right? Might as well assume they are China, because, I mean, from what I read, yeah, those names that they took on, Lee and all that, are like the top, like they own TikTok, right? And China's leadership has not fucking went after that. And from what I hear, they're not too big on Bruce Lee being promoted because they understand what's going on there. That's their reason, is the reason that it's happening. And TikTok is like, it just makes Asians look like trash, but it's not an Asian running it, is it? It's not a Chinese running it. His name isn't Andrew Chinese. Say Andrew. It's very close to Abrahamic, and in fact, you'll find that name in a lot of their. That is one of the names they use apparently. But the last name's really all you need there, because it's literally their name. So, just one letter off, so it rhymes with it. And so they put a lot of thought into things when they change their names. Just like when they create a new vampire movie, when the 1,700,042nd vampire movie, which will be the next vampire that movie comes out in a couple seconds, that's going to be so new and original. It's gonna be, you're not even gonna know it's about vampires. You're gonna be wondering, what is this? I have no idea what's going on here. You're gonna be so confused. Or are you just gonna be like, oh, it's the 1,700,042nd vampire movie. Where have I seen this before? It's fucking. There's not much being invented here. We had to go back to the multi-dimensional thing because everything was already done, and that failed when it first came out. So it's all they got left is something that failed to sell. Look at that. We're talking about them purposely selling shit that fails because it's all they fucking got, and it's just what they do. And we have proof in the media that they're reverting to something that failed in order to continue selling garbage. Again, like the patterns are real simple. It's just like, what does a mosquito do? It flies, it lands occasionally, it sucks blood, it does a loopy-loop, and then it has a bunch of babies. That's all. That's all it's going to do. It's not going to go build a nuclear reactor. It's not going to transform into a tiger one day and go maul some jackals. That's all it's going to do. That's all it's ever done. That's all it's going to do unless it evolves into a dinosaur or something. They're going to evolve into a monkey and then evolve into a human one day. That's what Karl Marx tells us, right? Fucking the Abrahamic prophet Einstein tells us. Abrahamic pothead fucking Carl Sagan tells us. Obviously, this would be a scam they've created because they own everything. They got their Bible flag. They got their Bible, their Abrahamic prophet, Karl Marx over there. So they've been invaded and colonized. And what happens is colonization isn't as cute as they want it to sound. It's just genocide and replacement of people, conquest and takeover. So they created, again, with the name games, it's not homosexual pedophilia, it's circumcision for invisible God. Ooh. How are you going to argue against that? You can't even argue with invisible people. That's how weak you are. Invisible people control everything. And you can do absolutely nothing about it. So it is time to admit you are wrong and worship us. And give me all your money and your children. And then I'm going to kill you either way. So you might as well just kill yourself after you give me your wife and your children and all your money. Because you're going to piss me off if I have to waste my time doing it. And then I'm going to kill your wife too because you pissed me off. And your children, which I was going to kill them anyways, but that's going to piss me off, and I'm going to have to go looking for more of your people and kill them because you pissed me off, and then that's going to piss me off because I had to go looking for them to kill them. I could see that being a logical fucking reasoning if we weren't beginning with being trash in the first fucking place. Who's going around doing this shit, but I think it's beginning with these Delulu fucking characters who need to conquer the earth for their race to be gods of the planet and stuff. And obviously they're not bringing anything to offer to the table. Occasionally they're stealing technology from other people. And then they're killing them off. You gotta realize they're actually killing advancement just because you think America brought you TVs and nukes, and which they didn't. Fucking just because you think they brought you good things like that, and good things like slavery, and good things, like computers. They guarantee you they stole it all. Fucking. That's all they ever do. That's every time I look into it. No, it's stolen, right? The internet wasn't invented here. Somehow they came up with their own a couple years after that. They came up with their own. It was their own. And but the rest of the stories, they admit it. It's, you can kind of find the missions. But it's obvious they aren't inventing it. Yeah, Einstein says they developed the nuke and we have to obtain it in order to use it on them, to stop them before they can use it on us. Meanwhile, their people are just killing everyone for any reason. They can make up any excuse. And Hitler looked like them too, so I don't see why Hitler would blow up his own people. He got these other people killed who don't look like anything like him in Goebbels. And then he helped them steal land down in the Middle East so they can have more land down there, more beachfront property. That's probably the biggest fucking reason for Palestine besides the land bridge to Egypt is they want beachfront property. When you're rich and obsessive, fucking you know, you don't want normal. You already have hamburgers and electricity and a nice car. You know, what do? Like you get more money, you kill more people to get more money. You're gonna buy a yacht. Well, what are you gonna do with a yacht if you don't have a beachfront property? If you don't have ocean, you're not gonna do anything. So you gotta fucking get some beachfront property. Anyways, it's strictly easy to see personality. I mean, go let some of these people talk to you. Go outside, they'll fucking approach you and shit. Fucking, if you don't have the joy of being around them all the time and forcing their way into your life, which I might assume that if there are other living beings on this planet, they're definitely in everyone's fucking life. And that's obviously how they got from the Middle East and Egypt to here, was getting in everyone's life. And that's what their book says to do, is to get in everyone's life. That's what their book is used for, to get in everyone's life, to force their way in. Give them an excuse to open the mouth and you to open the door for the vampire to come in. Gives them an excuse to be all fucking pushy and predatory like, and to force people to talk to and date them and shit like that, like they did that King of Persia or whatever. And they apparently do a lot around me and shit. Those people have been forcing me to try to talk to and be around them since the day I was born with their pedophile ritual and shit. And it's like I realized, like, the day I'm born, like, no. Even other people around me didn't like them. Fucking, someone fucking broke one of their jaws and shit. Fucking. And like, I'm just like, I look back at that like, wow. You broke the jaw of a person who was trying to kill me for a long time. That's interesting and shit. You're like Superman or something. You're like not all heroes wear capes. Except for they work for those people, so. Yeah, I'm not delusional. Anyways, so we need more superheroes without capes, fucking. You ask me. Not all superheroes don't punch people in the mouth, like the Punisher and shit, fucking. Some people just don't shut the fuck up. Like rapists going around raping and colonizing the whole fucking world and forcing people to worship them. You might have experience with these people who don't shut the fuck up. People pay to go hear them talk. That's all they fucking do. Besides, yeah, they definitely don't go to war. They're talking about go and die and kill and steal for me. And they're not actually going to war, so that's all they're doing is talking, fucking. And you can't really do anything against them because you get that Teen Wolf incident where I get the joy of being shown what happens if I decide to fight them back instead of letting things play out. You're allowed to defend yourself against no one in this nation, because this nation is their people, and no one in the world's allowed to defend themselves against them. That's why Iran can't have nukes, because no one's allowed to defend themselves against them. That's why you're Satan if you don't like him, and you're Jesus if you don't like Satan, because you're evil if you fucking don't like them. Either way. You like Satan and you don't like Jesus, you're evil because you don't like Jesus. And if you like Jesus and you don't like Satan, you're evil because you're a pedophile. Fucking. Isn't that weird too? Like they're always calling out the names in advance. So they're like, oh, Satan, all the Satanists are pedophiles. And it's like, it's the Abrahamics. Like, It's literally the Bible that is the one who does the pedophilia rituals legally. That their Christian government is protecting. So you can see with all their patterns and everything that it's highly likely that they're not only purposely choosing the junk in China to sell here, just to sell junk, and then they got that fake global warming thing so they can create a tax, like they use their religions and their tariffs and everything else they've ever created to force people to pay them money so they can just siphon all the money in the world from their lazy, fucking disgusting people. And then there you go. They're the ones destroying the earth by creating the fake garbage and the trash that you throw away and it doesn't work, and selling the trash that doesn't work. And then their answer to that is to create another scheme on top of it to take money away from people. And under the guise of the Chinese are doing it. Well, the Chinese don't look very Chinese when they worship Abrahamics, because when someone worships Abrahamics, that means that they're no longer the people they used to be, and they've been replaced on a large scale. So it means they're under demonic mind control. They want you to give them your soul for some reason. Whatever, or we got bots on the planet, I'm playing with the sun. In between that is where one of their bitches come up to me from fucking the government in Hollywood and is playing with the voodoo doll, and we both fucking lose the use of our arm in the same way at the same fucking time. In between those two things, that exists, and a little sigil on my arm having some weird fucking interactions when there are rituals happening in the room I'm in. In between playing with the weather and shit and nothing happening, there is that shit happening right there. And I might assume that if you brand yourself with their shit, then that allows the bots to take control of the fucking place or some shit. I'm not sure the real rules, but I would assume I'm pretty close to figuring it out at this point. So I wouldn't say no, it's not happening, because what explains all that other shit happening? And especially when the sigil on my arm fucking starts acting up when I'm at a ritual, pretty much a ritual and shit. Fucking, and then what explains how the humans are like these empty mind control shells often and stuff. Like I walk down the street and they're like empty fucking bots, but I mean sometimes they appear with clothing on, like displaying my fucking words and shit, so obviously that's not humans at all right there we're dealing with. That's something that doesn't exist and is just appearing in and out of the fucking matrix and shit. So there's definitely that going on. I'm sure that's in between playing with the weather and like the weather fucking stop raining when I go outside, shit like that. It's far, far below that type of stuff. So, but it's definitely happening, and it was happening a lot in 2020 and after there. Kind of hasn't ever sealed up. It's why I don't go outside now, because I only want to hang out with humans and shit. So there's no purpose for me to being accosted by my enemy or anything like that. They've already wasted my entire life, so No need to give them any more freebies. The 2020 was kind of the beginning of me being involved in this at all. So I've got other ideas, and if those ideas don't work, we're definitely not doing anything else anyway. So yeah, there we go. I mean, maybe at the end of the day, I'd blame the people inside America. But I mean, most of them are them, so like we're already doing that, aren't we? Um, but the people not doing anything about it, like, hey, I've done my share. There can only be so many of them before we find out that they're just bots who are reproducing fucking the visuals that they exist and shit. You can only erase so many of them before it becomes apparent that they're not they were never living beings to begin with, and something else is generating them. If that even happens, let's not lose all hope and shit. But obviously, I've been smoking my Bible today, so I got hope, right? It's just the only chance. Fucking, that's all it is. It's the only chance. I wouldn't say there's hope for it. I just say it's the only fucking possibility things will change. So, you think you're gonna be able to get a few of them in interrogation, and they're gonna fucking rat out the rest of their models? They're really well trained at lying and acting like nothing is going on. They also seem to be really well trained at breaking easy, so that'd probably be pretty easy to do. But their ability to fucking lie and hide might override that. Not too sure. We won't know until we actually get to test out some interrogation on them and shit. See what the fuck how they respond. We won't know what we'll be able to get from that until we get to start doing it and see how they respond to stuff like that. Fucking, maybe they'll shape shift into lizard form or something. I mean, shit. How do they teleport across the map? Wouldn't that be like a similar skill as shape shifting and shit? To be able to reorganize the molecular structure of a person and move it to different cities and states. So, or is it just they're simply bots and it's generating them for content in the game? Maybe I'm just overlooking the fucking pretty obvious shit that appears to be going on. That ain't new, them selling trash. I bought trash on eBay, and then I was buying those lighters at stores. Waterbeds and stuff used to be known for selling really expensive trash, and it was like they always target kids and people who use drugs, which everyone uses drugs, but they target things people like with like high taxes, like food. Like they've managed to work their way to taxing food extremely high in this nation, and vehicles with their tariffs. People need vehicles to go places, so they know that, so they can force those prices up, and demand will not decrease. And people will continue to pay fucking high prices for food and vehicles. And then they want people to not have vehicles so they can't go around talking about them. So obviously that's a staple of their people, is you can't talk bad about them. You gotta worship them, they're gods. You can't go around on the internet saying anything about them unless you're them acting like you're gonna give someone free speech, and then you just you're too dumb to notice that there's only one race being advertised to you on YouTube and fucking Facebook and probably TikTok too. Fucking, I wouldn't stay there much longer. I don't need any more of their media, and that's the dumbest media they've ever came out with. They're definitely getting dumber by the day. But that's just them. I don't think they're getting dumber. I think they're just doing it more, and they're being themselves more in the open. Next thing you know, they'll be. Yeah, actually, I did find videos of animals having sex. Apparently, that's okay to be posting on YouTube. That's right up there with the gold nugget jackpot of having sex with children for them. So that's no surprise that that's on YouTube. What do you do while they're in control? They've been in control for thousands of years, and this is what they do. This is what they promote. The lifestyles they live and lead and love. Rape and animal sex and child sex and delusions, manipulation, robbery, scams. And the Chinese didn't used to have a culture like that. All the culture I used to read of them was like, they were like noble people and shit. That's what they said about the Native Americans too, and they obviously were trying to genocide them. So you can see their hatred for China is still like extremely strong. But you can also see that they've convinced the Chinese to worship them, and usually they didn't convince the Native Americans to worship them, so they killed them off. And usually, even if they do convince you to worship them, they're eventually going to kill you off. So that would be 100 years later, 70 years later, since Abrahamics successfully killed the Chinese and replaced their political system with Abrahamic beliefs. And so we're like 70, 80 years later. They obviously own TikTok. And we might assume some of the technology corps are working with them too, because they work. They sell them here, right? And they don't say, oh, that's Chinese. They create platforms for Google to put their software on. But it's just them. You really don't need a multi-hour-long documentary discussing them and their actions and their journey through time and space. And really all you need to do is listen for the sound of a mosquito or a fly to know that there's a fly in the room. And you occasionally see it zipping by. You might think there's a fly in the room. Occasionally you might see it land, and you might see there's a fly in the room. It's really not that complicated to study who's doing what, and notice when you see that being done again. Pretty obvious. When I see a group of people outside on the corner, what's my first thought about what they're going to do? They're going to ask for me to give them my soul, and all their money, and threaten to torture me in order to seal the deal. So, why would I suspect that? Because it's a pattern that almost always happens. If I see a single person, what are my patterns going to be? Single person running back and forth, like screaming and hollering. What are my thoughts going to be? Maybe I'm biased, but it's either going to be a person who wants me to give them my soul, or they're going to torture me, or it's going to be a person who wants me to give them crack money, or they're going to kill me. And I'll probably be right on that too. It's a pattern there that you can see. So you make that assumption and shit, right? I'm sure you guys driving cars, you see that, and people running around screaming, fucking in the streets, and you guys are like, well, let's make a detour around the city and avoid that intersection. I've definitely thought that it's surprising more people don't do that, but they're like they're pretty intelligent about the places they choose. They make sure they choose where there is no way out and bad traffic, and you have to go that way. You have to stop here. They're like pretty smart people for people who spend $8 hours a day doing that. Obviously, you don't have to spend 8 hours a day working if you're making a few $100s an hour. But who am I even talking about when I say that? I could be talking about two groups, right? But why could I only be talking about two groups when I say that? Why is it everyone is going to assume who I'm talking about when I say that? Alright, and why is it you're going to be right? If you see that and you think that, it's because that's the patterns of how they act, who they are, and what they do. And that's right here is a pattern of colonization, replacement, enslavement, and con jobs. So without going over there at all, I can view the whole pattern and make a logical assumption that I'm dealing with the same people I see doing that pattern over here and everywhere else. And I've been doing that for thousands of years, but I shouldn't make that assumption because Alberta Einstein's boyfriend said, don't expect the children to be the same as the father, except for Alberta Einstein herself said that, DNA is real and it means something. Oh, isn't that cute? They've got everything covered with their delusions and lies. And I wouldn't even think most people even like them. Why would you even like pedophiles? Why would you like rapists or colonizers or genociders? They tell you they're good people because they own the media, but there surely's got to be someone left alive somewhere who's been colonized by them or enslaved by them, who is not like a big fan. Supposedly they had to bomb a block in like the 60s with bringing the fighter jets because the slaves had turned the neighborhood into their own, and they had guns and they were preventing I don't know, it actually had nothing else to say. So they were making their own community, and so they just bombed it. The government sending jets to drop bombs on it. And so that's what happens if you don't like what they're up to. And that's what happens all across the world. China wouldn't let them in for a long time. So magically, in like the world's largest slaughter, Abrahamic prophet Karl Marx was heralded as king. That's so great. It's so great. He's the king of peace and hope and love and truth and light. For the Chinese, at least, right? Everyone else has their own king of peace, love, hope, and truth and light that they brought them. Native Americans had their chance to have a king of hope, love, peace, truth, and light. But they said, no, you're just trying to steal our land and stuff. And they said, you caught us, so we're just going to kill you. So that's what happens if you don't accept the prophets of peace, as you end up in pieces. So obviously someone in China, lots of people in China for some reason, thought it was a good idea to accept the Abrahamic prophet of peace. And the ones who didn't died. So there's no reason to follow their people, as the Native Americans proved, unless the reason is you don't want to die. But you don't want to die, I guess you have to follow them. So that's the world. That's what's going on. That's pretty easy to see. I can take you a tour around the neighborhood, show you who runs all the fucking stores. I can show you over the internet who owns Amazon and all that, everything else. You can see for yourself who owns Tesla and Amazon and all that. You can probably see for yourself and go outside and look around your stores, unless you live in a really secluded, hard-working farm type area where hard labor is required. You know, you got to travel miles a day just to get a loaf of bread, something like that. An area like that might be void of their population. Like the farmers, the serfs doing all the work might not, attract people who are allergic to doing hard work. Doesn't seem right to be carried through the desert on your golden throne and having people holding umbrellas over you to go to picking crops from the fields 6,000 years later, does it? Why would you do that? Doesn't make sense when you can just go be president of the people who pick crops and get rid of the people who pick crops if you got any problems with any of them. And just trading in your gold bars for cotton pads, for tampons. I could see, not really wanting to do that. Maybe, kind of. I could see the Office Space thing, actually. But he didn't have gold bars. He still had to go work labor jobs. They have gold palaces. They could just chisel a little chip off their palace if they would ever run out of money. And then they'd have plenty of money. That's most likely what we're dealing with, right? Repeat patterns, same people. I mean, look, okay, so we have proof with the TikTok, don't we? There we go, Andrew Chu. I mean, has he admitted who he is? Come on. What does he look like? Bruce Lee. He looks like those people. He looks ratty, and he looks fucking snaky, and he looks fucking shady, and he looks up to something. And who always has that look to them? Jeffrey Epstein's the only one who doesn't. And he's the one up to the most. So you have that going on. That's like the fucking dumbest, most mentally retarded shit I've ever seen in my life. And that's what they do. Like, they come to America, they kill the people here, and they take the land to have 30 of their people make Elvis. When 200 years ago, some people they killed were making fucking Mozart and stuff like that. And what's going on in China, these people who are so advanced, they rule the world, have this fucking media that's they have their name on the media because America put their name on it and put that word in everyone's mouth. They have just that total garbage that they're selling, and they're selling it to you. They're telling you to hate it to go to it. They told you to hate Trump to go to him. They told you to hate Alex Jones to go to him. Alex Jones is telling you he's not one of them when he is, when it clearly is. Alex Trump is saying he's not one of them when he clearly is. Elon Musk is sig heiling when he obviously is one of them. And repeat pattern. This is all they can do until someone stops them. They're getting away with it. And we have proof with TikTok that they are the ones who own the trash corporations over there, selling the lower than trash garbage to America that probably is not what they actually watch over there in China. From what I hear, those are smart people, and smart people would smack the shit out of their children if they watch something like TikTok. But that's just, you're gonna, why are you failing kindergarten math? Oh, that'd be your fault if your child's failing kindergarten math and you're letting them watch TikTok, because that's why they're so stupid. It's because they're watching the most ignorant shit the planet's never seen before. And point is, that's their people using China, blaming China for what they're doing, which is selling garbage to America. Selling the lowest penny on the dollar garbage they could ever fucking find, and then blaming China for it, when it's their people doing it. There we go. We actually have solid proof that they're in China creating trash to sell, pennies on the dollar trash to sell to fucking America, jacked up fucking prices and shit. Fucking cost of their entire existence is the price on fucking watching that shit. Fucking, when people wake up in 20 years and they can't even spell their own name, that will be YouTube and TikTok. Fucking, that will be, which is who? Comes from the people who wrote the fucking first books in the world, isn't it? It comes from fucking special. The pedophile's chosen people. Pedophile God and his chosen people. Amazing. Fucking. Yeah, well, there we go. We got pretty solid proof there that they're doing it. We don't have Chu's admission. We just have his name being Chu and him looking like every other Chu. And we have them worshiping being taken over by the Abrahamics in a large slaughter by the Chu family 80 years ago. The Chu prophet, the prophet of Chu. And yeah, I'd say it's good enough. We have them on the streets selling the garbage. Obviously they're on the phones selling the garbage, TikTok and YouTube and all that, and Amazon. They're welcoming open arms to these anon sellers who could be, you know, their people and not actually Chinese people selling stuff on there. Fucking so we got solid evidence that this is all they do, pretty much, is scam the fucking planet for centuries. And this is a method of theirs to create the cheapest, lowest cost, low quality junk they can possibly fucking muster in order to get the highest fucking return and payout on it. And they're always blaming someone else when it's them doing something. They're always blaming someone, even when there's no links to it. If they're just shut their fucking mouths and shit. And so there they are blaming China for all this shit that they're obviously doing at the stores across the street. And they're obviously doing on their Amazon. And those are not Chinese-owned corporations selling junk. And so we got all those links. We got all those links to a pattern the mosquito, an animal in the jungle kingdom, is doing. A repeat pattern that it does over and over and over again, and it doesn't do anything else at all. And there we go. Simple fucking links. Having the cross and having the sickle and the stars, like having the cross. They, of course, are trying to separate themselves because they're separating everything, so you can't put the links together. That's why they do that. That's why they create a new religion for each city they kill off and colonize, because the neighbors aren't going to let those people in once they've seen they just killed everyone who lived beside them. And if they just change their name from Hedicon to Hajuikon, all of a sudden it's a different, entirely fucking invisible Scooby-Doo cult. And one people on the planet didn't accept invisible Scooby-Doo. And so they had to, the prophet Karl Marx had to leave out invisible Scooby-Doo of this story. And there we go. There we go. Real fucking simple. Almost every link we need except for the actual admissions from these people. And a detailed list of all the owners of the factories and corporations, which I've already looked for, and it's just hard for me to decipher. But I can make some assumptions when I see bald-headed people wearing glasses, and I never used to see that fucking in Asia. So, and who is it that is bald by the time they're 17 and has to wear glasses, like 60% of the population? Oh, there we go. More links. I did actually look into the corporate people, several of them and shit. And can't make a judgment because I don't know the base natives well enough to do that. But I can make an assumption when I see certain traits appear in them. So, and you gotta realize, being smaller people, they would have less testosterone. Like overall shorter and smaller, they appear to have less testosterone and keep their hair less of a estrogen and testosterone imbalance by nature. So I don't recall seeing a lot of baldness coming from there. So when I see that in a nation that hails the prophet Karl Marx, then I can make some assumptions there. I'm still wondering why they haven't called out Andrew Chu for not being one of them if he's not. Because they're using that to attack fucking China. And so why don't China just come out and be like, he's not Chinese? None of these nations do that, though. But is that because they are already worshiping the prophet? The prophet Karl Marx over there, and the prophet Hajiu Khan, the prophet Einstein, etc., etc., etc. Is that the only reason they aren't calling him out? Because to me, I can make the obvious connection all the way over here, 4,000 miles away. Is that's not even a Chinese person. Why don't you just tell Americans to stop fucking blaming you for creating trash if they're creating the trash and blaming it on you? It makes sense to do it. There's a real quick way out. Just like a real quick way out would be like, you guys are like openly pedophiles. Like in every UN debate, every time the president goes to meet fucking the Chinese president, just be like, why are you guys pedophiles? Why do you guys molest fucking and mutilate little children like you do? Is that like a sexual act to you, or do you do it to enslave them? You know, there's all these real quick little quips that would put an end to every fucking debate ever on TV, instead of having your blood and life slowly sucked from these people for all of eternity about nothing of value, when you can just silence them forever and put an end to it. You'd probably put an end to it. You'd probably do. The silence would be followed by the end. Fucking. But it's never done. Never done. You would think these other nations could just, if they're really at war, if the prophet Karl Marx was really at war with the prophet Jesus, and the prophet Jesus was really at war with the prophet Muhammad, then the prophet Einstein could throw in a fucking bone, and the prophet Anton LaVey could throw in a bone there and just disrupt the whole fucking thing. You know, why are they busy insulting the Satanists all fucking day, calling them pedophiles, when their book isn't the book that fucking demands fucking homos, people to be homos and pedophiles? Why are they saying the Satanists are homos, and the Satanists aren't like, wait a minute, you guys are the ones who invented homos and pedophilia. Like, how are we that? It's because they're working together. It's the same damn fucking people. That's the only logical answer. Because if you're actually in a war, you go for the fucking quickest win possible. And you could have done that trillions of times over in all these nations. But they don't. They don't. None of them do. None of them go for the most logical, quickest fucking answer to fucking silencing the fucking idiots. They don't, because they obviously want it to continue. Because without them fighting, their people won't remain in control. Without the slave populations fighting over who's better, and they might be able to talk to each other and be like, did you notice though, like, they must be better than us because they own everything, and force us to worship them as gods. They're gods, so obviously they're better than us. You know, let's celebrate. You know, instead of being against each other, let's celebrate the gods who rule over us. How about that? Why don't any of them do that? Because they're so concerned with their people dying in wars. Why don't we just call them out? I understand the Muslims can't call out fucking pedophilia shit. Call them out for the homo shit. They're like, you guys rape boys. You guys are homos. Don't talk to us anymore. We don't talk to people like you. Why don't we do that? Fucking, like, you guys are in the closet homos. What else are you lying about? Why not do that? Fucking, no, why doesn't China do that? Because China can do that. Fucking, China can definitely do that. But, like, you guys are really disgusting. Fucking, you rape children. You're homosexuals. Keep that away. Fucking, why don't they do that? Could it be because the prophet fucking Karl Marx wouldn't want to battle his brother, the prophet Muhammad, or his other brother, the prophet Jesus, or his other brother, the prophet Anton LaVey, or his other brother, prophet Einstein, or his other brother, the prophet Jeffrey Epstein? Fucking, they never hit these things. You just hit this one topic. I'm sure there's a couple of them, but you could definitely just hit this one, and it would just smear them permanently for all of eternity. And they wouldn't have anything prepared. They'd have no retort, no dossier, and they wouldn't be able to prepare any retort. They would have to avoid it. And that would just continue to make them look bad as they continue to avoid it. And just be like, hey, but what about the problem? Are we going to fix the problem? You know, if they try to talk about anything else. But no, let's stay on the subject. Let's get a problem solved while we're here. You know, it's real fucking easy. Real fucking easy to deal with things. So we have all the prophets. Prophet Jeffrey Epstein and pals. Creating chaos across the planet. And obviously those people are invisible, so we can't prove they're actually creating chaos. Karl Marx might have existed. Einstein might have existed. And Anton LaVey might have existed. I never seen him. But supposedly those people all existed. Fucking, we're taking that from the people who talked to us about invisible people and fucking who are alien shape-shifting teleporters themselves and trying to distract from that, apparently, with Scooby-Doo delusion stories. There we go. Simple as it is. And America's gonna do what? Fucking. I remember there was some riots in 2020 where we rioted and they led the riots. So nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. Their people have been doing this for 6,000 fucking years. They have the entire fucking planet worshiping them as gods and prophets and shit, fucking and willingly forcing their children to have sex with them and things like that. It's a pretty shitty fucking place, and scamming. I like scamming people. They just rioted over illegals being here because they're creating the riot. Meanwhile, no one's burning down fucking Trump's house because of the tariffs, which is just him. Obviously, the Chinese aren't fucking calling him out for anything about you, but it's just him introducing a tax so his people, the Abrahamics, can go build more gold churches and palaces. Isn't that great? Fucking isn't that great? That's just what they need. Their fat asses need more cheeseburgers and more fucking gold palaces. What they need to be is locked in fucking kindergarten classroom until they can fucking learn how to act right. They used to try that shit with me because they were mad that my solution to how they act was to fucking burn their bitch ass down and get the fuck rid of them. Always has been. I've never been. I just didn't know who I was up against when I was a kid. I was against it. I just didn't know who I was up against. Okay. But now that I'm older and all the documents magically appeared over my life to educate me on what it is going on, then I understand what it is. Obviously, you got to get away from the people beating you and drugging you for their cult in order to take a better look at the cult from the outside, or even be able to speak your mind about the cult, because that's the last thing a cult wants you to do. Like, they're out in the streets threatening to kill you and torture you forever if you don't worship them. So obviously it's not a good idea to be like, you know what, you sound like a fucking piece of shit terrorist motherfucker. You are fucking a real fucking work of art, you pedophile fucking child abusing terrorist Ku Klux Klan motherfucker. You can't do that to people who are fucking on the planet and are out on the street corner every day fucking threatening to kill people who don't fucking worship them. And the cops are driving by waving with their fucking Nazi badges and shit, fucking like, hey brother, what's up? Kill Satan, kill all non-believers and shit, fucking. Those against Abrahamic religion will die. Just like the natives we killed, buddy. You keep on preaching. It's the reality of what's going on. And I get to be placed where I get to experience directly in this shit. And it starts out like, that's like the first fucking sentence in the opening paragraph. It starts out differently, and then we later revisit history and learn why we have gang markings on our body and stuff. So it doesn't, I don't think the book actually starts at that page, but it goes and revisits. It starts with the gang marking. I have the gang marking on my body, but I don't understand what that means yet. Fucking And then I get to experience the gang. And then, I'd probably be traumatized as a child if I was like told I was raped as a child by the fucking ritual cult members and shit. I probably would have been outside chopping up fucking people and shit. Rapists and shit. Fucking. When I was a kid, I didn't play fucking games. If you would have told me some shit like, oh, that's a pedophile mutilation, fucking rape ritual, we were already attacking that place. We would have made it less of a joke and more of a, we could have easily fucking did what we did with purpose instead of for fun. There it is. We could have put an end to this system before it started, but also we would have had to be in adult mode, and that wouldn't have allowed for immersion or any sort of time to enjoy running away from them constantly. And now it feels like a job too. That's not fun. It was fun when I was a kid to fuck them up. And now it's a job. Like it always was a job, but it didn't feel like it because I didn't understand it. Obviously, if I'm correct about what's going on, that would be the whole quest line, storyline here. So that's the definition of a job. Well, it's not as fun these days, fucking. Largely because of that. The attempts on my life, like I guess I have seen, things happen to other people because of that shit. But, I don't know. I don't know what happens when certain characters disappear. If there's like a backstory to, they got ran over by a car and had to go to heaven, or it just removes them from the game or something, or they went back to prison for fucking smoking crack with fucking toddlers and shit, whatever it is. I don't always know. I kind of assumed that person who was homeless when it was like 30 below freezing, walking around the streets, kind of assumed that with his fucking family and shit, kind of assumed that might have been one of the people who tried to kill me, fucking, because he had that same fucking bitch attitude, even while fucking looking like a homeless person outside during 30 below freezing fucking 2 feet of snow weather, blizzard weather. He still had that bitch I'm gonna kill you type attitude. Fucking, I'm a crackhead who's just gonna kill everyone on the planet if you don't give me crack money type attitude. I kind of make some assumptions, but I can't. I think he might have been a little bit taller, but the other person was on a bike, so technically it's probably down a little bit more. Fucking, I kind of get the idea. I mean, like, everything kind of seems set up, so like that was like my first thought for a lot of reasons, not just because the attitude and the way he looked, his eyes looked, and the fact he's like 5 houses down from where they were. It's because I kind of see stuff like that happen sometimes. So, someone tries to kill me and they kill themselves in the process. And I get told I shouldn't wait and let God handle things. Whichever the 200 million fucking the people talk about it would actually be the real God. And weird shit does happen like that. But at the same time, I also notice it's set up in advance, and they're telling me it's going to happen, and funding it months in advance and shit. So it doesn't compute as I should believe everything I fucking hear, right? I don't think I live on a planet where you should believe anything you fucking hear or see. So um, a little bit above that. The day I was born, actually, fell for a few things, but not most of it. But oh, that's that. They're scammers. This is their personality type. This is what they do. They blame everything on someone else. They're never doing what they say they're doing. So if they say they're not doing it, that probably means what they're doing. They're never telling the truth. So if they say they're doing it, they're probably not doing it. And if you would confront them and be like, "Why are you doing this?" and they're like, "I'm not doing it," then the probability that they're actually doing it is about 99%. And so it's just the way it is. They got their Abrahamic mind control scam symbol on the nation, which symbolizes that they've been colonized, conquered, and replaced. And they're over here blaming them for what they're doing over here. And I'm just making a rather obvious assumption that they're not only doing that, but they probably own the factories over there who are actually creating the trash, because that takes a lot of time and resources to create actual trash, like to create a fake iPhone 13 that works and turns on and stuff like that, but it's filled with junk components. That takes a lot of time and effort. That's why it's $250. I mean, even if it took 10 cents to make it, they would sell it for $250, because you can sell it for for like $1,500 easy. And that takes a lot of coordination and effort there from some very disgusting people to do shit like that. And who are the most disgusting people I know? And who are the people I know who would do shit like that? Fucking people drop little lines like, there's only 7 of us left on the planet. Things like that. Neo-Nazi affiliated people. I'm making one assumption about the person who might not be part of that shit. I still got educated on them through that, but not through that person, through material they gave me and shit. But like over here, as far as I know, you got Jeff Bezos. Who do you know? You know Jeff Bezos, right? He's scamming people. You know Google, they're scamming people. You know Zuckerberg, he's scamming people. You know the American government, they're scamming people. You know the churches, they're scamming people. You know TikTok, that's scamming people, and that's got a Chinese name on it, except for it looks like a non-Chinese person has a non-Chinese name running it. I think at this point in time, 100 years later, Chu is probably acceptable for a Asian name, but that's 100 years after the prophet Karl Marx has entered the building. So, lots of good links there. Lots of solid links, repeat patterns of behavior of things we can see going on. And as usual, we got people blaming other people. It's always Nigerian scammers, isn't it? That's weird, because on Facebook, when I've seen people who are Nigerian scammers, they were literally showing you pictures of who they were, and then they were like doing Illuminati gang signs too, as if anyone in Africa has any idea who the fuck that is and shit. They had money and probably fake AI generated pictures, because why would you put your face on your own scam page and shit, right? You have to hide that. And who owns the phone companies who are doing all that, who are used to do the scams? Just like the internet. Who owns the internet? Who's creating the scams on the internet? It really doesn't matter who's creating them, who's allowing them. It's Zuckerberg and YouTube. And you can see that they're allowing that to flourish on there. They're involved in it. Fucking, it's not unknown people act. That's not bears and tigers acting like mosquitoes and shit. Fucking repeat patterns. They've been doing it 6,000 years. They got a 6,000 plus year history of creating Scooby-Doo scams. Fucking, that's 8,000. They have the Amen Ra scam. Still in progress these days. Still in progress. And people are going around saying Amen every day. After every wish in the world, they pray to Amen Ra. And that was 8,000 years ago. Scooby-Doo came here with a bird mask on and claimed he was half bird god. And so that scam still exists to this fucking day. They're still promoting that scam as real and legit. It's still the rulers of the world, the people at the top. Donald Duck is the first person to sell Bibles, and he's only done it once. And he's busy doing the fucking pyramid symbol all day long. So, yeah. And you can see the people in Hollywood aren't doing anything except for that, for the most part. So, they're kind of switching over. They've created this atheist and Satanist thing recently. They created the Satanist thing 2,000 years ago, but they created the written form of it, a manual for it, not too recently. So, it's time to shed the skin. The empire can only last so long. People are probably running around talking about, hey, the Christians killed off the fucking, the Germans, the Christians killed off the Native Americans, the Christians are killing off the Palestinians. They're obviously trying to avoid that topic and separate USA from the Middle East and cover it up, but it's clear in their 6,000 year history they know they have to continually shed their skin in order to make the empire happen, because people don't like it. So as it gets bigger and widespread, because they're going around killing everyone and forcing people to worship them, so it spreads, then sometimes people get out of hand and don't want to do that and don't like them anymore, and if they just change their name to something else, then magically they're not guilty of the sins of their fathers who have went around shedding their snake skin because they don't want to get caught for all the problems they're causing. And there you go. Fucking all those links, and just to prove that the scammers who are in charge of the scamming are probably the sons and daughters and fathers of the scammers who are purposely creating junk in factories over there. Imagine if China didn't have working batteries. All the Chinese batteries are junk in America. Now imagine if China, this highly advanced fucking technological nation, far beyond USA, imagine if they didn't have working batteries. So why is it that all the batteries Jeff Bezos sells are trash from there? They live in the year 2060, and they don't have any need for batteries, I guess. They just power devices with their mind or something. That doesn't make sense. And then Samsung batteries are real legit batteries. So those are still made in China. So what is that? They're choosing to sell you stuff they buy for pennies, and someone's choosing to make broken garbage that doesn't work to fill landfills up with, and make batteries made out of mostly dirt and sand or something to reduce the production cost. Someone's choosing to do that. And what I know is people in this nation have been following a corporation since it sprang up in my city. And I listen to the CEO's podcast and stuff, and he talks about he goes directly to China and deals with the corporation, deals with the factories, and he tells them exactly what he wants made. I can do that. You can do that. People I know were doing this 20 years ago. This nobody can call up the right factory in China and ask for something to be made for the right price. And a lot of times, the right price, like they probably already got some sort of printing press for a lot of stuff. So that's what you do when you're a corporation. You go over there and you meet with the factory if you want something specifically made for your company. And you talk to them and you have them make it. And then that company is known for quality goods. And it's in America, and they go to China, and they get their stuff produced in China. So that company, if they sold computers that don't work, no one would be able to buy them, right? You can sell Windows that don't work and blame Windows. He's not making Windows. He's making technology products. Bill Gates is making Windows. That dude goes to China and has a meeting with the fucking factory and chooses what they make for him. That's how it works when you own a company, or if you're real high up, you have someone in charge of production and control, something like that. And you don't just, Amazon gets to hide behind their marketplace, and YouTube gets behind their fake freedom, just like Facebook. It's trying to hide. How do they hide? Because their brothers own the government. How do they hide that they have drug ads and fucking a bunch of sick fucking ads all the time? Because they're outsourcing it to a mere ad revenue people. They outsource. That's what the point of breaking up monopolies is for, is so that people can hide. They have a monopoly on religion, but they decide to turn that religion into 17,000 religions so they can fucking hide amongst them and blame something else for what they're doing. Fucking repeat patterns here. They're purposely choosing the junk from across seas. The stores are. Amazon, Bozos has a network to find a way around that and stuff. And then their bank Amazon on eBay or their bank PayPal doesn't have to follow bank rules, even though it's a bank, and they can help those people scam you too. And they're getting away with that because the government is the bankers, so they're going to try to chip away at that penny every chance they get. That's where the word penny pincher came from. Is they used to they used to chop up currency and melt it together. They're really hard working at being pedophiles and fucking rapists and colonizers, genociders, and enslavers. But when it comes to other labor, they don't do much. Imagine how much money, that time and effort that takes to chip a little edge off 2,000 pennies and then melt them down into 2 pennies. So you got 2 extra pennies after you spent 3 to 4 days fucking doing that. It's a fucking lot of work for nothing, but it's not for nothing. It's fulfilling, It's like an athlete wants to run a triathlon. A football player wants to run on the gridiron and ram into people, and an archer wants to shoot arrows. They want to fucking scam people. They want to fuck over people. They want to do stupid shit. They want to fucking create delusions. Just fucking, it's not the sins of the father, it's the genetic code of the father, I think. I think that's what they're scared about. That's why they have to pre-write some of these words so frequently and shit. Because they're worried that someone's going to catch on. So they know, they have these discussions over thousands of years, and they're like, well, what if this person figures this out? What do we say here and shit? That's where where the smart people come from. When you start questioning how they own everything. So, Steve Austin's on the podcast with Paul Heyman. And he's like, how do you guys own everything? And he's like, we're the smart people. Like, you can tell they've sat in a room and they've had this discussion. What do we say when someone comes up to us and asks us what we're up to? And then what do we say when someone asks us how we do what we're up to? And obviously they've concluded that the answer is we're the smart people is the answer. So this is clear that they've networked together to come up with this answer, because this is the answer every single time. There's nothing else. Never been anything else ever. It's always that. They're networking together. Obviously. They must be, right, for thousands of years. And they've already, while they're sitting there shaving edges off of pennies, they're discussing, what if someone catches us doing this? What should we say? We need a little bit of iron to fix our button on our vest. Okay, that's a good idea. Well, if someone notices that the pennies aren't real pennies and it's just melted copper and it's not minted properly, and just put it in a bag full of pennies and they won't be able, so they got a lot to count and they won't notice there's a couple counterfeits in there. You can tell they're having these fucking meetings and shit. Fucking buy that thing there. Fucking. Obviously, it takes a lot of networking to conquer every fucking nation on the planet and make them worship you as prophets and gods, doesn't it? Fucking, especially when we have to go to so much work to create anti-religions and non-religions in order to get the last few scraps of humanity who refuse to bow down and worship us.